Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our free September 2025 webinar, Never Work for Free Again, the Workflows and Apps to End Scope Creep. Thank you for joining me. I will be sharing the workflows and apps to help you to end scope creep because it's such a big problem in our industry. And as you'll learn later, I have even dealt with it. All right. So first of all, I would love to welcome our new sponsor, Keeper. Keeper, if you haven't heard of it, first of all, is my very favorite app of all time. I love Keeper. They are an all-in-one client communication workflow and reporting tool designed specifically for bookkeepers and accountants. My name is Veronica Wasek. I'm the unstoppable introvert founder of 5-Minute Bookkeeping and the 5NB Academy. And you can find me online at 5-Minute Bookkeeping. My mission, my goal, my passion is to empower bookkeepers to become confident professionals and thriving business owners and to really help them to build the life of their dreams. And so that is my passion and why I exist. I did run my own bookkeeping firm for 15 years. So started that business with nothing, no money, no clients, grew that business and sold it last December to two of my managers. What are we going to learn today? The hidden cost of free work, systems that prevent free work, apps that support boundaries, and then we'll go into some Q&A. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the hidden cost of working for free. I know that this is a huge problem for all of us in the industry. It was a problem for me coming up in my business, after running it for 15 years, learning all the lessons because I made all the mistakes. And I have been there. I have lost thousands of dollars. I've left money on the table. I have started out with good intentions. Well, I'm just going to charge a fair price, or I'm going to try to help this person. Oh gosh, I remember even a hair salon owner who was getting divorced and didn't know what to do in her business. And I went in and I helped her to reorganize the financial side of her business and then tried to trade services with her. And then that didn't work. And you start out with those good intentions because we're good people. We're kind-hearted people. We want to be helpful. And then, things don't work out or somebody says, well, I don't have enough money to pay you. I'll pay you later. I mean, there's just so much. I could probably write a book. I have made all sorts of mistakes. I have left thousands of dollars on the table. But what is the hidden cost of all these things that we have been doing because we're giving value away? Stress, burnout, lost profits, frustration, low confidence. We get stuck in this cycle and it leads to cheap clients and low prices, which in our industry, we seem to attract a lot of that. We need to make a mindset shift. You need to start protecting your time, which will then give you more confidence. So as you build more confidence, then you can work with clients who value you. Then you can start to get paid what you're worth. And when you start to do all those things, you get stuck in a good cycle that will lead to the business of your dreams. So protect your time, build your confidence, work with clients who value you, get paid what you are worth. That is the shift that we have to make and believe that we deserve it. We deserve to be paid what we are worth. We deserve to be compensated for the things that we do for clients. So let's talk about systems that prevent free work. What can we do to stop giving away work? Why systems? Because they are your way of doing things. You have to have a way of doing things so that clients will comply to the way in which you do things. Systems are repeatable and sustainable. They're the key to working efficiently and profitably. In my case, they were the key to me selling my business, having something to sell to my employees because we had systematized the business. When you have systems, you can control the process. Clients don't control you. And that's really when you have a business that is systematized in which you control the process. First of all, you have a business and you're no longer someone's employee, or they will not view you as an employee because you have your way of doing things. And there's no guessing as to how things are done because they're done a certain way. And that leads to confidence. It leads to confident communication with your clients. So what are the systems that prevent free work? First of all, engagement letters, getting paid upfront, your client onboarding process, handling out of scope requests, and raising prices. Engagement letters it's a contract between you and your client outlining what you will do, what you will not do, listing the payments, the terms, so how you will get paid, when you will get paid, listing the terms of service. What happens if they disappear? Do you have to give them a refund? What happens if they sign the contract and then a week later say, I changed my mind, I'm canceling the contract? Do they get any money back? What happens if they pay late, for example? What happens if they disappear on you? What happens if they don't provide everything to you on time? Those are some of the terms of service that should be on your engagement letter. The terms for terminating a client, for them terminating you. Do you need a 30-day notice, a 60-day notice? Do you need to give them notice? Those are all the things that need to be on that engagement letter. Your engagement letter should also address price increases. How often will you increase prices? You should have some wording in your engagement letter for addressing that scope creep and being able to increase their pricing. The second is upfront payment. So getting paid upfront for everything that you do. Again, how do I know? Because like I said, I've lost thousands of dollars. So how do we do that? How do we get paid upfront? For monthly clients, you need to put them on a recurring payment system. I'll talk about apps for how you can do that later. But they need to be paying every single month, and that needs to be automated. So it's just, you set it and forget it, as they say. And you get paid on the first of the month before you do any work for that client. If you're doing cleanups, you can take 50% upfront and then 50% near completion. Next, client onboarding. In your client onboarding process, which I define client onboarding, essentially the time between when you sign a client and they sign your engagement letter and they paid you, that kicks off your client onboarding. To the time you begin work, that is considered the client onboarding process. In this process, of course, you will gather documentation and things of that nature, but it's very important to set the expectations with that client when they're first getting started. So you need to set expectations for how you will work together. What can the client expect from you? What do you expect from the client? Talk about the method of communication. How will you communicate? Are texts okay? Are phone calls okay? Are emails okay? We'll talk about communication apps here shortly to streamline that. The frequency of communication. How often can they contact you? You're giving work away for free when you have those needy clients who are texting and calling and emailing at all hours of the day, thinking that, you're just there to answer their every question. Also, when will you respond? Maybe they want to text you at midnight on a Friday night, but maybe you won't respond till Monday during business hours. So you need to be clear on when you will respond. You need to explain to them how they will upload documents to you, to your secure document portal. The client should be uploading that to you in your document management system. And typically this should be handled during a client onboarding meeting. And so you need to make sure that you or one of your team members are meeting with that client, having your client onboarding meeting and explaining all of these things to them. And even explaining what are the consequences. If you don't do X, Y, Z, then these are the consequences. And so they can be aware and act accordingly. Another system to reduce working for free. those out of scope requests, right? The client is asking for services outside of what is on the engagement letter. Maybe they have all the questions, they need advice, they're texting and calling and emailing with tons of questions. Then you need a system for how those service requests outside of your scope of work are handled. So you need to define what is this out of scope request. Usually it's anything that is not on this engagement letter. So what do we say? Because, we get anxious, uptight. We don't like confrontation. Again, we have that helpful nature, but we have to, again, set the boundaries and tell the clients. So here's what you can say. Thanks for reaching out about the additional services you're looking for. Since this isn't part of our current agreement, we'll just need to set up a new scope and pricing for the work. I'll guide you through the process so it's simple and straightforward. So the moral of the story here, any out of scope request requires a new engagement letter or an addendum to your engagement letter or a paid consultation. So if there's something new they're requesting, then you need to give them something new also in the way of engagement letter, addendum, or a paid consultation. So there was a question earlier about raising prices. First of all, you need to be raising prices with your clients every single year at a minimum. So if nothing has changed from year to year, then raise your prices once a year. In my engagement letter, it said that we would raise prices every year. A price increase would be a minimum of 5% of the current monthly price. The apps that support boundaries. Before we go into that, I'd love to talk to you about our new sponsor that we have here at 5-Minute Bookkeeping, and it is my favorite app, which is Keeper. And if you haven't heard of Keeper, it is an all-in-one client communication, workflow management tool, reporting tool, receipt tracking. I was just watching a webinar on how you can streamline all of your onboarding with Keeper and other apps. And so it's an all-in-one app to really be a game changer for your bookkeeping business and really help you to work efficiently and profitably. And it is designed specifically for bookkeepers and accountants. So let's talk about the apps that support boundaries. All right. So apps for engagement letters and getting paid. First of all, Anchor is, I would say it has become now my second favorite app. So Anchor allows you to prepare and send engagement letters to get paid by your clients. You can set up monthly recurring payments. You can set up payment terms for cleanups. It integrates with Keeper. It's easy to use. It only costs $5 per payment if your client pays using ACH, or you can even opt to pass the credit card cost to your client if they want to use a credit card. And you can set up automatic price increases every single year. If you're not using anything for engagement letters, I highly recommend Anchor. So Ignition is the other. It is more robust. I think their target audience is really bigger companies with more needs. At my firm before I sold it, we were using Ignition. It's very powerful, but it's an investment. Okay, what apps do I recommend for requesting information from clients and client communication? Keeper is, again, my very, very favorite one. QuickBooks Online to some extent in terms of communicating with clients and requesting information. If you want something that's already kind of free within what you're paying, QBO would be an option. But Keeper to me, because it's such a just all-inclusive app with so much other functionality that to me is a no-brainer. There's also an app called Uncat. So Keeper is what I recommend. And not because they're a sponsor, because I have loved Keeper way before they were a sponsor. So it's just the tool that we use, that Maven C, it was a game changer for us. It does so much. And I think the pricing is very fair based on the number of clients that you put on it. And so even if you put one client on Keeper to test it out, I think it's well worth it. Keeper also has a functionality where you can ask the client questions. You can request documents, receipts, and information from your client. And you can also communicate with your client where they can ask you questions as well. And so that's just a way to then start moving everything to a central place where you have a system and you have an app to do all of that. For paid consultations, so if you're going to do paid consultations, you need an online meeting scheduler that integrates with Zoom or Google Meet. You need something that will allow you to take information. So they call it an intake form. So it's basically asking questions of either your client or a potential client that offers free meetings or where you can charge for meetings. And the app that I recommend is TidyCal. TidyCal is just a one-time payment of $29. I used it. Okay. I was using Acuity scheduling for years and years and years. And I thought, let me try TidyCal. I paid $29 for a just one time. And it does all the things that I need. So take a look at TidyCal. So action items for you. How do we stop losing this thousands of dollars? How do we stop giving away all of this free work? How do we gain confidence in our ability to, like, yes, we can work with better clients, but we need some boundaries, some systems, some apps that will help us to do this so that we don't have to seem like, these bad guys that are forcing clients to do things they don't want to do. But we can be seen as professionals who have systems and technology that reinforce our way of doing things. So number one, engagement letters. Make sure that they clearly define your scope, your payment terms, your price increases, your out of scope requests. If you're not using them, at least start using them. And we said Anchor is a really good tool for that. Decide how you will get paid up front. So will you sign up clients for monthly subscriptions? So then they are just paying you on an ongoing basis, like I said, set it and forget it type thing. Take a payment upfront for cleanups. Decide on the apps that you will use. Again, Anchor is a really great product for that. Set up a client onboarding checklist or a client onboarding process. Use a repeatable process to set expectations with every client. Number 4, choose one client communication tool. So stop dealing with text, with emails, with phone calls. Centralize all of your client requests in one place. And Keeper is a great option for that. Set up paid consultations. So whether you want to do paid consultations like one time for someone who just, they have a few questions, great. That's a paid consultation, or paid consultation with your own clients. Instead, select your calendar app and get that set up payment through that calendar app. Practice scripts for your boundaries. So practice what you will say when a client asks for something outside of your engagement letter, or you have your text ready to go, like copy paste. Okay. So they're asking for something. You need to send an email or communication about that. And number 7, the most important, raise your prices. Okay. Raise your prices every year. Raise your prices and do a new engagement letter or an addendum to your engagement letter when you have out of scope work. And notify your clients of the price increases, but raise your prices. I guarantee that even if you lose some of those cheaper clients, you will still be more profitable because you will keep the clients who are willing to pay more money, who value what you do, and who are willing to stay with you because, again, they respect and value what you do. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you will implement these changes in your own businesses to get paid what you are worth, to have systems and apps that support what you do, and be of a mindset that, yes, you need to invest in some of these apps to help you to grow further and to be more efficient and profitable. So I will see you next month, and we will talk about the pay diagnostic review.